This is Marty with Excellence in Education, and we are now concluding our series of videos on learning styles and the importance of all aspects of learning styles on the efficiency of your student and learning their new academic subjects and just in learning things about life in general. Again, all my information that I have been presenting over the last several videos have been based upon the information from this particular book, Discover Your Child's Learning Style by Mary Emma Willis and Victoria Hodson. And we are also, as you know, certified learning style coaches with the certification coming from the Learning Institute in Ventura, California. Okay, today we are going to be talking about the importance of environment and how it does affect your child's ability to learn. Much like when you're at work or doing a particular task, there are certain elements that surround you or are part of you that will influence how efficient or how much you like doing what you're doing. And this could be as simple as noise factors, the lighting, are you hungry or not? Is it too hot, too cold, too windy? All these different things will have a definite influence on how you perform. Now, of course, it's the same for your child in school or in the classroom setting, if not the homeschool setting. There are things that will influence greatly. Are they ready to learn for the day, or what can we do to make it better? So let's start out with the number one item I want to talk to you about today in respect to environment, and that is sound. There are people who love to have background noise, and there are others who want a quiet, peaceful, at least in their mind, quiet equals peaceful environment. So how do we deal with that? Now, for those people who really need to have a quiet environment, they really do need that, because any sound can be a distraction. That can include background music, background conversations, maybe that truck going by the front living room of your home, or the school bus coming up to the school and the classroom is adjacent to the parking lot. It could be as simple as a mosquito flying by or a fly. So for many people, especially among our sensory processing challenged students and community, the influence of some sounds can be highly distracting. So for these individuals, we need to really try to provide a quiet environment. Now, the reality of life is sometimes that we cannot find that quiet environment. So we can try to do things like provide them with earplugs that will minimize the background noises. Maybe we just put them in a quiet corner of a room, even though it may not be as quiet, but it gives the impression of a peaceful, tranquil, quiet environment. Then we have those individuals who require noise, background noise. And parents, this is where we get into a challenge, because many students, they do very well with music background or having people around and they're hearing conversations. But the biggest challenge for parents is when their kids study to music. And our recommendation to you is, if your child is doing well academically, let it be. Now, of course, there's limitations. You're not going to have your child do very well listening to, let's say, very loud volume of acid rock or hard rock. And you may want to start to experiment with different types of music. The studies show that Baroque music tends to be what we would consider conducive to good learning. In fact, people will actually do much better listening to classical or Baroque and they have proven that their studying skills improve with that. But again, experiment, let your child have some control on the type of music, and you may want to be an advisor and suggest different things. Okay, now let's talk about the body position. Now, our normal, typical classroom environment is a desk, a chair, and you're stuck in that 12-inch by 12-inch piece of real estate. Okay, now, many people are not efficient and comfortable sitting down for long periods of time. In fact, sitting is only one of 3 different types of body positions. 1 is sitting, 2 is reclining, and 3 would be standing. So we have to find out what type of environment is best for your child. A lot of times you can see a child laying on a sofa and doing quite well in studying. Other times you find that walking around or standing becomes a better program, or better yet, you'll discover that it's a combination of all 3. For instance, sitting down writing a paper, but then every so often having to stand up, and maybe while you're standing up you could be reading something, or you can start to walk around just to get the blood flowing. It's amazing because right now you're seeing commercials on television where they have these tabletop contraptions that can rise up, and allowing the person to have their computer on this platform, and when they want to stand up, the thing will rise up as well. And they're claiming that there's more efficiency in the workplace with standing up than sitting down. So, again, body position can have a very important influence on your child's efficiency. Let's talk about interaction. And now we're talking about people now. And there's basically 3 types of interaction types. One would be the person who wants to be alone. They do very well in their own room, door closed, quiet, maybe some music, but they want to be alone. Other individuals want to be with others, aka the classroom environment. They feel comfortable with people around them. And then we have a 3rd category, and that is going to be small group. And small group can be anywhere from 2 to 3 up to 5 or 6. And they feel comfortable having a interaction, and in that case they form friendships and trust and just good relationships. With our science classes here, we have our classroom where during the lecture portion it's one big class, okay? But then when it comes to lab portion, which compromises over half of the class time, the lab tables are configured for about 4 students at each lab table. And we find that that works very well for most of our students. Now, we also can realize that there'll be a combination of times and things that happen here. There might be a point when a child wants to be alone to do something that they like reading a novel for American literature, for instance. But other times they want to be around people. So, like with all learning styles, we all have some degree of all 3, but some are more dominant than others. So whatever is best for you, and parents, let the child have the freedom of choosing their body position, their interaction style, because if you do that, you will do much better and they will do much better. And then we come back to my harmony instead of conflict and separation. Okay, lighting is another interesting component. Now, lighting can be either bright, low, it could be natural, or it can be artificial. And everybody has a preference. Myself, I like natural lighting with windows open, fresh air going through. I'm a natural light freak. I love lights. And for some people, they want to be in a low light environment. Others, they do quite well with artificial And part of that reason is because they've been forced to. Most of the people in the United States, if not the world, are indoors more than outdoors. Therefore, we have more artificial lighting. Now, there are several types of artificial lighting that you can become familiar with. One is there's fluorescent. Now, fluorescent lighting tends to be the worst choice. For instance, plants cannot grow under fluorescent lighting. And studies have shown that fluorescent lighting can cause eye strain, headaches, mood changes. Okay? So, maybe we want to go into either incandescent or full spectrum. Now, incandescent can be as traditional, of course, but it could be harsh at times. And many times people have now resorted, and many school districts have converted their interior lighting to full spectrum, which means it's the kind of light that you would see in nature. And surprisingly enough, plants grow quite well with artificial full spectrum lighting. Again, the lighting issue is important. Where it gets to be a problem is if you have 2 or 3 individuals in your home that have different lighting preferences. So do your best to accommodate all individuals. Food is also critically important. And people have different eating habits, and if you're hungry, it's difficult to concentrate on your studies or activities. I can eat 2 meals a day, I'm pretty okay. My wife, she has only 1 meal a day. It starts at 6 a.m. and it ends when she goes to bed, because she grazes all day long. And if she does not get the proper food at the proper time, then she can start getting a sugar crash. She can start getting less tolerant. She loses her ability to focus. So it does have a definite influence. So watch your food and try to, when you're having midday food, make it snacks that are healthy foods. Throw away the sugars if you can, the candy and the ice cream and whatnot. Fruit snacks, vegetable snacks is much more preferred, because again, we're trying to improve the health of the body, which translates to a body that will enjoy their learning process that much more. Okay, color. And you go, color? What's that got to do with anything? Well, surprisingly enough, it can have an influence. For one, we all have our favorite colors. And if you can surround your child in their favorite colors, like in their room or in parts of the house, then we're doing much better. In the classroom, it's been traditional colors for a long, long time. But they did some research, and they discovered that using light blue color schemes in the classroom not only lowered blood pressure among the children, lowered anxiety, and increased learning efficiency. So we have the scientific studies that say that color is important, but we also have that observational evidence that color can make a difference, can make children more calm or more excited. But the bottom line is provide your children with a color environment that is pleasing to them. Again, take the eyes off yourself, and let's be sure that your child is the one we're being concerned about. Okay, and the last item I want to get into right now is time of day. What do you mean by that, Marty? Time of day. That means the time of day where you are most energetic. And it's amazing how many people have different energy levels at different times of day. Now, it's a fact through some studies that 30%, only 30% of students in the classroom have that learning energy. I call it learning energy, but just that energy level to learn better in the early AM, meaning 8 to 10, 11 o'clock. Only 30%. Most people do better late morning to early afternoon. And we also have kids who do well at late afternoon. Now, what happens if you, the parent, for whatever reason have high energy in the morning and your child doesn't? Then we have conflict. And we cannot expect your preference to necessarily be applied to that child who's not quite the early morning person that you might be. In that case, we suggest that you try physical activity to get that body up and running. Instead of going from getting up, grabbing a donut, hitting the learning environment, whether at the home school or at the classroom. Either way, we know that physical energy is very good stimulator. And it could be as easy as doing morning exercises, taking a walk, walking the dog. Some people, they will have their family conference in the morning over breakfast where they're talking about things, engaging the mind. Anything that is not just going straight from the bedroom to the book. Many people now also have a hard time with their teenagers who like to study from, let's say, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. because that violates the natural rhythm of life. And a lot of times your teenagers go to bed late and get up late. Well, I'm not going to tell you how to run your family. The only thing is that you want to take inventory of two things. One, a growing child, and that includes up through your teenage years, really require for proper health and proper body development, which includes the mind, at about 10 hours a day of sleep. Now, if your child goes to bed at 2 in the morning and you expect them up at 7, that's only 5 hours. So there has to be made some changes within the household. So again, take into consideration the family dynamic and figure out what you believe is appropriate. Okay, I think that pretty much concludes our study on learning styles, and particularly the environment. And we'll come to a conclusion here in a few minutes. Okay? Well, this concludes our series of videos on learning styles. And it's important to understand in review that learning styles have a tremendous influence on how you teach and how your child learns. Don't forget, if we do not pay attention to all aspects of learning styles, which is modalities, dispositions, talents, interests, and environment, we will have conflict if we don't understand. Conflict results in separation. We do not want that. We want unity and harmony within our home, which will improve your child's academic success as well as make your family dynamic much more enjoyable and a whole lot more fun and successful, and it creates an environment that has lasting lifetime influence on how you will react with your children and their spouses down the road and their children. So again, the importance of learning styles is vastly important. It cannot be underestimated. If you would like to know more about learning styles, there are a couple of options. You can purchase this book here, Discover Your Child's Learning Style, and it has a wealth of information. It goes into even more detail than what I have gone through in this video series. You can always get that from excellenceineducation.com. That is my website, and you can purchase that book from there. If you're interested in doing a learning style assessment, you can also go to excellenceineducation.com and click on Learning Assessment, and it will direct you to a website where you can purchase the assessment and take it online and at which point you will receive immediately, I mean just fast, a complete analysis of your learning style. And again, we suggest not only your learning style, but every person in your family from about age 7 or older. The child has to really be able to read, look at choices, and make a decision. But again, I cannot overestimate the importance of knowing your learning styles. So, we wish upon you and your family great success. If you have any questions, any concerns, you can contact us through my website here. And I want to say happy learning, happy harmony, and enjoy your life, your children, your family, because it's a wonderful, wonderful life. Okay, again, thank you for listening to my videos. We'll talk to you down the road a bit.